Dude, can I ask you a question? Sure, go ahead. Your journey, you studied at Berklee, right? Yeah. How much pressure is there to complete that whole journey? How much internal pressure, and do you face pushback for not meeting those expectations? I mention this, for example, because I know a guy like John Mayer studied there, right?
John Mayer left upset, right?
I don't know. I'm remembering these people who, in my view, they didn't follow that whole protocol. And what's it like in there? If a guy wants to get in there and he's a guy who really feels the Latin vibe, he just wants to mess with that, is he welcome? Is he going to be pressured? How does that work?
Dude, so you can choose the course you want to take. I studied performance, and within performance, you have a lot of freedom. For example, Julian Legis himself studied there, and he found his own path.
Okay. In there, he won't be pressured to meet that.
No, there's the core, right, man? Which is harmony, perception, arrangement. You have to do it the same way. It's for everyone. It's for everyone. After that, you can go down whatever path you want. So you have guys like, for example, Dream Fender came up in there. Yeah, super analyticals. Yeah, animals as leaders. Have you heard of this band? No. Which is with animals as leaders.
Animals as leaders. Animals as leaders. Yeah.
Damn, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's a more modern crowd. So, man, if you want to go that way, it's cool to hear from you, right? You have to go in there, no, but you have a lot of freedom in the curriculum there. He went a lot towards doing ensemble practices. I wanted to have that experience of playing jazz fusion because I couldn't play with my peers. And there's also something you mentioned about university, which I agree with you, that university is just a snapshot of a person's life. A lot of people think that going to university will solve their life. It's just 4 years. Dude, it's really fast. It's really fast. So the college doesn't have that role of like, man, it's over. You've already completed the game. A lot of people think that going to college will let them complete the game.
What's happened?
No, I'm 4 years in. Welcome to the world.
Appetizer, right?
Man, you graduate at 22, 23 years old, dude. You're still nothing.
To understand more or less how it works there, the so-called, yeah.
And there are different profiles. For example, Chris Jones went to Berklee, and he's a guy who came from the streets. But there's a guy like the people from Dream Theater who come from a middle-class background and see music in an analytical way with numbers, right? I think Berklee has this interesting side of embracing everything. Nothing here is forbidden, you know? You all who are self-responsible for your careers? Dude, I'm going to ask you the following. You also had a post where you complained about a contractor who said you couldn't play without an amplifier, right?
I dreamed of this question.
So I wanted to, because there are some clips we've been putting together here of people complaining a lot about not having an amplifier on stage. A lot of people have already given up complaining about that. I think there's a lot of questions about purpose. Are you in a career where you're playing for yourself or for others? You're following an artist, and maybe you can't choose that. You're in a position where you can choose, right? So, what amplifier have you been using, and what do you think about taking the amp off the stage?
They're choices like anything else in life. We're all mature here with our little white beards. Mine, I just did the other day. You can't see it. You can see it from the little white one. Every choice has its pros and cons. Life is made of that. How I deal with the repertoire, which is extremely important. You perform with amplifiers, with a Fender Twin, a Deluxe. In the case of jazz and rhythm and blues, it's important to sound like that, right? Which one are you using there? For the trio there, God, I had a Twin for 20 years. Because more than 20 years, because I didn't know there were others. When I bought a Twin, right? Because the dollar was 2-to-1, I paid 2,000 Rs for a brand new Twin, right? And then I had a super reverb and stuff, which is way too big. Then I discovered the Deluxe, right? Later, you'll see that it's the amp of amps. Man, it's really tiny. I go to the Blue Note, and I have to turn it up a little more, so I set it to 4, 5 at most there. It already gives that flavor. It's not a hot rod, right? No, it's the reverb god, the Blackface, right? Blackface, got it. That one. Obviously, for the work we do, we play the songs of AC/DC. It's the quest of those who are passionate about this band. It's about finding the tone of the brothers, Malcolm and Angus. You know that these are the Marshall Plexus. They use it, right? Of 100 watts. Big head. There's a rig rundown, which is content on YouTube. There, the guy dives into the backstage and shows exactly what it is, where each head goes and stuff. But today, the Marshall, it came with that studio series, which are the 20-watt amps, and I manage my life really well with those 20 watts.
Is it combo?
No, there are combos and there are heads. I have the little 20-watt head of the SV20, which has the same circuit as the SLP, the super lead. So man, what's the deal? It's that this DC has a sound, it's almost clean. We get fooled by that grandiosity of the arrangement. When you hit it, lower the guitars. It seems like it's vigorous, but it doesn't have as much distortion as people think it does. So that's exactly it. So I use this amp for that reason. Obviously, this question came up because we tried to play at a venue in Curitiba, and the person said, no, we don't accept the amp. I took the opportunity to bring up this topic, Antonio, to see how people would react.
You didn't play at the venue?
No, not yet. And we found out the other day that my producer wrote with another email something asking if they accept amplifiers. And they are just like, the amount of 0.8 that disappeared from the market on Teodoro Sampaio after you swapped yours. Did you know that one day I passed by there? Dude, we talked about it, right? The switch to the 0.8 gauge. He said, man, you won't believe it. The 0.8 disappeared. Look at the power of Teodoro in São Paulo. Dude. But going back to the story about the amp, what I noticed in the comments, and it's really good because you hear spontaneous reactions, there was everything. So there were testimonies from texts saying as well about the height you set the ampy. It's because of that, the lack of manners, the guy wanting to show up with a 4-stack, 412 playing loud. I say, look how crazy it is. I'm paying the price of a house, and they won't accept it because there are rude people who don't know how to set up the PA. Setting up PA? No, they don't know how to get the sound right on stage, as there's a whole science to it. Have you ever seen shows from big metal bands?
Man, it's been a while since I watched.
Okay.
Many years.
Well, yeah, but it's been a while since things have evolved a lot. For example, I've seen a Megadeth show at the Olympia that had such clarity and a loud volume. It was powerful, but it didn't leave me with ringing in my ears at the end of the night. Who was playing guitar? It was Maroney, Friedman, Mustaine, Nick Menza. 93, it's been a while. 96. 95, 96. A long time, but this technology is already well used. In other words, man, volume, frequency, all of that requires care. It's just that people want to use it and think it's just about cranking up the volume, and it's not, man. That's where reputation gets ruined. So we pay the price for people who don't have that education and scientific knowledge to use this kind of equipment. The houses, they're going to have to cut that off at the root, and it cuts, and he's fooling around. My way of operating. I say, you say I can't that. Daniel, then there's going to be someone there who will say, but who are you? I am me, and my choice is this. You're saying that I can't use an amplifier in my performance. It's like you actually going up to Daniel and mentioning, dude, this Mona Lisa is way too long. The hair, make it shorter. Put a hat on her. You're interfering with my work. It's very important for the repertoire I present that there be an amplifier.
It has. Wishwab also came here, who plays with Novos Baianos. And he's saying that Pepe went to play at a show. He looked at the drummer, who is his brother, and he was in the aquarium. What is this glass business? What about that? Take that glass off, then. Of course, the guy, no. He said, no, here's the thing. I don't play with that glass, then.
Yeah, because that's it. The technician is going to mess up the technician's work. Figure it out, man. Figure it out because, you watch shows. I watch European shows. Baden. Have you seen it? There's a show with the Thelonio Osmonk and Baden in Pau, then in the same TV studio, French TV, I think. Dude, what moment in humanity are you at? Is it impossible to put a microphone on a guitar and actually be heard? Because today, if you don't have everything lined up with in-ears, there's no music. You can't make it happen. When did that end? So I start from the principle. If not long ago in humanity, and even today a jazz group plays this way, I watched Maquetainer on the stage there at the Virada Cultural in São Paulo, where we were renting the equipment.
Years since then.
Oh, 2013. I think
he was playing a lot.
Very loud. He's super loud. He was playing well. He was playing well, man, already. The drummer didn't get on stage until they took the drums off the riser. because he can't be far away. Dude, he's a guy who has a language that he needs to listen to. The bassist set up that jazz formation, everyone close together. It doesn't matter that you're on a big stage. So other comments that were made, people started debating about impulse, response versus amplifier. I didn't bring this topic up. I don't judge. It's a choice. You have no interest. I have no interest. That's it. Now, I'm about to see if someone wants to prove to me that with an impulse, with a fractal, with these things, I saw a boy who came here one day very well. Eloquent, informed, what is he like? I don't remember. The guy is super cool, man. Is it from the church? A guy, man, I saw you had a really cool chat with him. He gave a lot of explanations. He said that it's the guy's preciousness. Is it Magnus? Magnus Vinicius. I think so. Bearded guy. I think so. Well, you'll remember from what he said, super articulate, very well informed, he said like this. He refuted the argument of those who want to use the MP. Yeah, because we say like this, no, I want the sound of the room that I heard on the record. He said, I'm sorry to inform you, but you're not hearing the sound of the room because in the studio, it was a 57 shoved into the speaker. If I'm not mistaken, it was Andy Ferreira. That's right. Cool, it's an argument. But what I would like to understand is if it's really possible to get the sound of the plexi with a Gretchen, the sound of the Marshall simulating that in the impulse response. I'm going to, you say that, prove that. I only accept this challenge. If that's the case, then okay, you're saying that you deal with this device right there. So the impulse response with that little box that the guys buy, the speaker that's meant for that, right? A box, there's even one in Brazil. Do stay there.
Far.
That one, that's it.
Flat response.
I'm going to tell you the sound I need. Go ahead. In Highway to Hell, grab Malcolm's guitar over there, which is almost clean. It sounds like a heavy country guitar. And I put the SLP here. I want to... If I fail this blind test, I'll convince myself that I've reached a certain level. Got it. The impression I have is it's literally neural. There is a device called neural, right? Yeah, it is. It's a neurological thing. I speak. It's a simulacrum, okay? Yes, it's an impulse. Response, it's called a simulator. It's not offensive. It's the name of the thing, right? It's the name of the thing. It's a simulator because it's a simulator. I think a lot like that. Do you remember watching Jurassic Park in the theater?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the one, right? It's the one. We were teenagers. I left enchanted, man. That dinosaur was perfect. 4 years later, when it was playing in the afternoon session, I was looking, yeah, those dinosaurs aren't cut very well. No, but the new Jurassic Park, the second one, they improved it. After 4 years, you watch it in the afternoon session. Yeah, but you can tell it's not. So I think that brain illusion still exists. So when they release the Zoom, it really sounds like Pantera, right? Then years go by and your ear learns that it's really not. So every 4 or 5 years, there's a new one. The new release to convince you that it really has arrived now. But soon, no, not yet, but it has arrived. Well, if every 5 years you say it's here, it means the other one hadn't really arrived, right?
Yeah. I remember when Line 6 came out with the pod, it was a revolution. I have my pod, that little red one, which one it is. Yeah, and that was the thing. My brother, it simulates just like that. Nowadays, we don't find the pod simulation that great anymore.
And it's useful. That thing is super useful. You can get a great sound out of it, and I know people who handle it really well. They get beautiful sounds with it. Now, it's about choices. I was captivated by a video, a person who came here, and sometimes we watch and listen and don't know who the guy is. And he started revealing himself and talking about what he used. This guy's a sideman for someone who's mainstream, like Brazilian. Look, building suspense. Dude, if he's going to play in Belém, he brings 2 Voxes. AC3. Dude, but who is this guy? She plays with Bruno and Morone. Who is it?
Marcio Cohen, right?
A choice. Look how cool, man. What perseverance. What a purpose in life. He's not going to trash talk, you know. She plays with Bruno and Morone, so I'm going to bring one. And he even said that when they can't have both AC30s, they get a twin from the area. So I went to the service center and they switched the treble knob and figure it out. But it's a very personal journey, right? Dude. So this issue is just that it's because really The first person who hears the sound of the guitar when it comes out, who is it? It's who is playing, and I play. Saying that I play for myself is selfish. I play for myself to give to others too, but the first one listening is me. And if I chose for my life, I want to hear the sound that I want. Can I?
I hate headphones. I hate headphones. I've always said that here. But I also understand the people who, for example, with my instrumental work, man, I take whatever I want. Your work? Then there's that issue of the reality of the people who follow an artist, where you arrive and you don't even have a choice anymore.
Briefed? Yeah.
You arrive briefed, you have to play that way. And there's also that issue of working a lot with a home studio. There's a practicality to it. You don't even need to mic an amplifier, right? Dude. The guy calls directly and
this guy who came, I forgot the name, Bruno and Maroni.
Marcio Cohen
Cohen?
from Terra.
Oh, really? He's from Sao Paulo. Cool. He even said something about that. He said, oops, the word you mentioned, practicality. He said, practicality doesn't always relate to other things. Practicality. That's it.
He's a really tough guy about those tone aspects. The guy who knows the details. Yeah, the guy who knows how to look at things.
And it's understandable what you said about Winnie. Of course, for a quartet, like the funny stuff we do with Van Damme and the Youngs, the AC/DC things, I really indeed value still keeping a tradition that comes from jazz. It's a stage setup where everyone is really close together. If you look at the rock bands from the 60s, it was like that. If you see Janis Joplin on the TV show, it was like a jazz band. It was something like the bassist close to the drummer. It was a piano, a branch, everyone stuck together, which reduces the need for monitoring. You're getting all fired up listening to that sound and all, but it's a choice. I understand that a person whose musical work involves a visual show with steps, with zipline, you have to use near. That's right. That's not my case.
Yeah, but I think everyone has it. Everyone, let's say the folks in their 30s and up. If you can choose, you'll choose to play with an amplifier. I think there are some younger folks who have already, started messing a lot with this, and they handle it well. And they handle it well. And maybe there isn't any, maybe not, there isn't even a reference for an amplifier. So, like, the guy is just that. He's always been that way. His ear doesn't compare, right? Man, but that sound from my Fender Hot Rod at home at the show is way better than this one. There's no comparison.
It's because it's internal repertoire, right?
Yeah.
That's right. From the neurological ear, I remember one thing, what we hear, what we've learned to hear. Look, it has nothing to do with music, but it has to do with the repertoire. Neuro. From that inner ear there. I was in Itacaré once, it was 2003, I don't know, on vacation at the beach, and I remember that Cidade de Deus, the movie, had just been released. Yes. And there was a kid at a hot dog stand watching Cidade de Deus. God, on a DVD with a resolution. So low and so rough that the voice, Bantu, damn it, my name is Bantu. Yeah, so it was that MP3 sound, but since he was used to it, that was normal for him. Because he got used to it, right, man?
It's really crazy. You pulled that memory out from the back of your mind, right?